YouTube, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Back again working on my MR-2 SPYDER, my 2000 Toyota MR-2 SPYDER with a 2zz, which is one of the engines I do love, and a Batmo wheel turbo kit on it. We just drained some oil on it, removed a serpentine belt, and put a new timing chain tensioner. It's so hard to say that. Today what we're going to be doing is draining the transmission fluid, putting some new transmission fluid in it, and then we're also going to be putting new oil in it, a new serpentine belt on it, and then starting the car back up. And then I think once I drive it around, if it feels good, I'll bring the car back in, and maybe on the next video I'll turn up the boost a little bit. Currently it's like at 5.5 psi, which is the total that it makes. That's it. So I might turn it up to like 8 psi. It needs a tune, so I don't want to blow it up. But it does have like a bass tune on it. It just needs to be actually tuned for the specific setup. So before I do that, I'm gonna just do all these little oil leaks and transmission fluid and new serpentine belt. And then if the car's running really, really well, I will put on the new tune, or not a new tune, I will turn up the boost off the wastegate pressure, and I'll show you guys how to do that. And then we'll go drive around the car. That being said, let's go ahead and jump onto the build, and I'll show you guys where I'm back at on my 2000 Toyota MR-2 SPYDER. So currently this is where we last left off. I put that new timing chain tensioner back on down there. It looks beautiful. It's all shiny, it's nice, it's clean. I do recommend that if you do get this kit from Black Label or from Monkey Wrench Racing, wherever you get it from, do get the turbo kit manifold, or turbo kit manifold painted. I wish I would have done mine. Otherwise they do rust. You can sand that rust off, which I might do, but again, if it gets water on it, it's just gonna rust over again. So I do recommend you getting it thermal coated, especially if it's on the MR-2 and it's in the back of the engine bay. So let's go ahead and first things first, let's add oil and put a new oil filter on to the 2zz, and then I'll drain the old oil from the oil pan and we'll drain the transmission fluid. So let's do that now. So to take care of my boosted 2zz over here, these are the fluids that we're going to be using in the setup. So the setup is ZZW30 full synthetic from Castrol, an OEM oil filter. I do recommend an OEM oil filter. They're affordable and good. They work with this. I love this oil. This is good oil. And then for the transmission fluid, once we drain it, we're going to be using MT90. We're going to be using some of this, and then we're going to be using both of these. Currently what's in the car is only this. There is no synchro mesh. And the reason why is if you read on Monkey Wrench Racing, they said that if it's forced induction, you can use only this. But that's more for like racing. And I want the car to be super smooth and not as notchy as it is. And I think that this will make the C60 very happy. So this is what we're gonna run. Okay, so as I've shown you guys in the past, I actually did put the oil filter back on already, but I do like to run a little bit of oil through it. So we're gonna go up to the top of the car and we're gonna put a little bit of oil inside of the 2zz and drain the oil, just a little bit of the junk out of there. Then we'll put the drain plug back on, and then fill up the whole 2zz with the rest of it. The 2zz with the turbos, they can take about 5 quarts. It's like 4.4 to 4.8, but with the extra lines from the turbo, you can put the full 5 in. But we're gonna use like 4.8 today. So we're just draining out that old oil right there. You can see the new oil coming out. Once that's all drained out, I will put the plug on, and then we'll fill it all the way up. So 2zz oil is topped off. It has its oil. I put that in there. No leaks yet. You know, it hasn't been circulated through it, so I wouldn't expect there to be any leaks. We'll put the fill cap back on. Now what we're gonna do is go down below, and we are gonna do the transmission fluid drain. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. So to get this off, you're gonna use a 15th, 16th. That's what I'm using. I'm not sure what it is in metric, but this works. It's a 15th, 16th with a 1/2 inch drive, and we're gonna use that to remove the drain plug, which is right there. So we're gonna remove that. Once you do that, all the transmission fluid will come out. Most of the time when you drain this transmission fluid, it's gonna be like this ugly metally color. I think almost every time, unless you just changed it, it's not abnormal to have it this color of like silvery metal. But it is usually a good time indicator definitely to change it. But I usually after 30,000 miles is when they're recommended to change it. So now you can see it's all coming out. We're gonna let it drain for a while, and then I'm gonna show you where the fill plug is. So since the 2zz is fixed in the back this way, it's not like your CELICA. That right there is a speed sensor thing, reader, I think. Just depending on how the car is. That's it. I'm gonna zoom in on it for you guys, right there. We're gonna use a 12mm to remove that, and then I'm gonna use that to fill roughly 2.3 quarts into the transmission fluid, or into the transmission. That's the way I do it. It's really easy. You can do a large funnel. It's not hard. So that's the way that I'm gonna do it. I try to get as much as you can get into it. You're supposed to get 2.3 quarts into it, and that's what I'm gonna try to do. But it's a really easy access because you guys can see it's like right off the back of the car. So that's what I'm gonna be doing to use the fill. That's my fill plug. There is actually a fill side on the front of the transmission. You can do that, but then you'd have to pump it in. This is so much easier. I recommend doing this. So once you pull it out, it looks like that. Now you can pretty much just fill it right there. It's really simple. This is the 12mm. I used a very long extension. And then here is the speed, I believe it's the speed sensor. I think that's it. You can clean this. I'll put a little brake clean on mine to make it look nice and clean when we put it back in. But now that said, we're gonna run a little bit of this synchro mesh right here from Valvoline. A little bit of this. We're gonna save this for last. So, or actually what we're gonna do is a cocktail. We'll do this whole thing, or a little bit of this to rinse it out. Then we'll do the whole thing. Then we'll do this, and we'll do like half of that. And then we'll do the rest with that. And we're trying to get two quarts in. So same thing, I'm doing a little bit of a rinsing method, and you can see the new stuff coming out. And yeah, so we're gonna get the rest of that new stuff. We're gonna let that drain. And then here's my giant funnel. It's super easy. I love this setup. It makes it so much easier to work on. Yeah, way easier than the CELICA. With the CELICA, I've showed you guys how to do that. You gotta kind of pump it in there with a little hand pump. But this is just so much easier to do it this way. As long as you get about that 2 to 2.3 quarts, you're good. Okay, so I've just finished off this first whole Valvoline. So the synchro mesh. This is what it's called. Synchro mesh. This is what it looks like. Synchro mesh. So we put one of those whole things in there. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab the strings in the way. We're gonna grab this, and we're gonna use half. Let's try half this time. So it still is a cocktail. But we're just gonna use half of one of these, maybe a little bit more, because this stuff is truly for like red line racing, and I'm not gonna be doing too much of that. So, you know, and I think that for me driving around this car, this would be one of my pleasurable cars. The MR-2 is fast, yes, but I want this set up instead because I want some really smooth shifting. So that's what we're gonna go with. So let's put this in there now. So I did 1.5 so far. So half of this, an entire one of this. And now we're gonna use just a little bit more of this. Again, probably not almost all of this one. So let's go ahead and do that. And when it's on this side, we don't want it to be bumbling out of this. That'd be too much. So again, this is 3 quarts, and we use half of that, and then one of these already. So you know the math on that, we'll just use probably like that much of this one. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I've filled it. Again, we did the cocktail. It's good stuff. I recommend it. Again, unless you're just racing it all day with the C60 transmission, try to do a little bit of a cocktail. The synchro mesh is pretty affordable. I think it's like $7. I think these are $7 or $7, and then I think these are 12 or 13. So transmission fluid is roughly $30 for the fluids, and do it about every 30,000 miles. That being said, I filled it up. I put the 12mm back in there and I tightened back up. Now we're all done. So the next thing that we're gonna do is, before we put the charge pipe on and all that back on, because I do want to start this, is make sure there's no leaks, of course. But I want to grab that serpentine belt, which is right here. Man, this car is getting some love. And we're gonna put the serpentine belt on, and then yeah, button everything back up, and then I might go for a drive tonight. I may or may not. I'm undecided. Okay, I feel good. I always love having all the oils done. That's the dirty stuff anyways. That's what gets your car dirty, is the oils. So all the oils are in there. Fingers crossed that there's no more leaks. What we need to do is now install this. This is a Gates belt. This is a serpentine belt. There is the part number. This is for a 2zz with a delete of power steering. This car doesn't have power steering, by the way. And a delete of the AC pump. So both of those are deleted on this car. So this car does not have power steering because it has electric steering on the front of it. And then this car has a AC delete. So this is the size that you'd get. It's pretty small. It's a small belt. But what we're gonna do now is unravel it, and then I'll show you guys how to kind of put it on. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and put that on now. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, it's actually, oh man, my hands are dirty again. It's actually a day later. I couldn't get that serpentine belt on, so let me grab the right one. It was a 56.5 inch length one, and it was what Monkey Wrench Racing said that you should have for the setup that I have. It was just too small. I couldn't get it on, and I pushed all the way for the tensioner. So I ended up going with a 58. So it's 1.5 inch longer. There was a 50, I think there was a 57 maybe, which would only been 1/2 inch. I don't think I would have been able to get it. So I went with this 57 or 58 inch. So this is the one that I went with. I don't know if anyone's gonna be rocking the same setup as me, but this is what I went with. This is what I'm using. It got on, I got the belt on. I'll show you guys here. So now that I have the belt on and I got the oil in and everything's good to go, let's go ahead and start doing the charge piping and put the charge piping back together. Okay, just like that, all the charge piping is back on. Was not very hard. I am ready to start it. I did put my battery back in. So yeah, we're all done with that. Everything's good to go. We are squared away. New serpentine belts, new transmission fluid, new oil, and then oil leak stop. So the MR-2 should be in really good condition. So let's go ahead and fire the MR-2 up, and then we'll go for a drive. All right, I don't want to inspire you guys too much, but I got lift to work. So lift's working on this. This thing is feeling exactly like my Lotus. This is so good. I cannot recommend a 2zz MR-2 enough. But I got everything back together. Everything works. I don't know why lift was wanting to work now. I think I did put a new air filter on, and I didn't show you guys that. My old one might have been clogged. Who knows? I don't know, but it's running like a champ. So we will be doing a video soon of me hitting lift in this and showing you guys how fast this is. Oh my gosh, I forgot how, this is like when I first got this completed, and it worked really good. It has a Monkey Wrench Racing tune from them. It is a bass tune, so everything should work on it, which it was working. Very little knock, but for some reason it just wasn't happy. So now with all this new stuff, I went and drove it. Oh my gosh, it's fast. So I'm excited to show you guys. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. We are done with all this. I cannot wait to do more content with the MR-2. We might go get this thing dynoed now. Make sure to like, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.